Long before fantasy had castles, chosen ones, or dark lords, it had the dragon. A shape in the sky, a serpent in the deep, a monster coiled around treasure, a godlike beast at the edge of the map. Dragons survive because they can become almost anything. They are greed, they are chaos, they are wisdom, they are apocalypse. They are the mountain you have to climb and the fear waiting underneath it. This is why fantasy keeps returning to dragons. Dragon is not a fixed beast, but a cluster of images: serpent, wings, fire, and gold, woven together by centuries of imagination. In the Anglo-Saxon world, the dragon was called both draker and worm, never just one thing. Its body coils in the margins of the Narwhal Codex, a scaled serpent crowned by a hoard of gold, rendered by anonymous monastic artists whose ink preserved the anxieties of their age, the threat of fire, the memory of famine, the looming shadow of raiders. These early manuscripts, including the Exeter Book, did more than copy stories. They created a visual vocabulary. The dragon's outline, serpentine, winged, flame-bearing, became a template for everything that followed. J.R.R. Tolkien, in his 1936 lecture, argued that Beowulf's dragon is not a single monster but a whole class of monsters, each embodying a different terror or temptation. The poem's beast is part guardian, part demon, part force of nature, part final test. It is a family of symbols endlessly recombined. This flexibility lets the dragon become whatever the story needs: apocalypse, wisdom, chaos, or the mountain's secret heart. The medieval scribes and Tolkien alike understood that the dragon survives precisely because it cannot be pinned down to any one form. Night falls and the dragon takes flight. In Beowulf, Howard Chilton traces the fire dragon's path through darkness, a creature called Draker, a terror that moves unseen until the flash of its burning breath. The poem names its hour. The dragon flies by night, not as a beast of daylight, but as a shadow that finds the world unguarded. Its fire is not confined to the wild. It pours into houses, searing the hall, turning shelter to ash. In a single moment, the safety of walls collapses. The dragon's breath is the storm that cannot be outrun, the disaster that arrives without warning. Yet the dragon is not invulnerable. Its hide is armored in hard plates, but beneath lies a soft, snake-like belly, a hidden weakness that invites both hope and dread. This duality, the hard shell and the vulnerable core, echoes the old fear of snakes, the sudden strike, the venom, the knowledge that danger can be both shielded and exposed. The dragon's form fuses the worst of many worlds. It coils like a serpent, soars like a storm, burns with volcanic heat, and vanishes into deep water or cavernous dark. Mountains, caves, rivers, thunder, each finds a place in the dragon's anatomy. In this composite shape, nature itself acquires a face and a will. The dragon is not a single animal, but the sum of all the dangers that haunted the edge of the known world, made visible and unforgettable. In the medieval imagination, disaster seldom arrived alone. Fire was not only a threat to the body, but a warning of the soul's peril, a vision of hellfire, as vivid in sermons as in the scorched remains of a hall. The dragon became the shape of dread itself, not just a beast, but the face given to famine, plague, and flood. Chroniclers recorded years when the land seemed cursed, 735 and 759, when the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle described great heat and rivers overflowing their banks, swallowing fields and homes. These were not mere weather events. To those who wrote the annals, such calamities bore the mark of the monstrous. In Norse saga, the famine dragon coils around hoarded gold, its greed mirrored in the blight that follows. Fafnir's treasure does not enrich the world, it withers it. The dragon's presence signals not simply bodily danger, but the slow unraveling of order. The harvest fails, the river rises, and what was once home becomes unrecognizable. In this worldview, the dragon is not only the predator at the threshold, but the shadow cast across the whole community, a living emblem of nature's wrath and society's fragility. A slave, desperate and hunted, slips into the barrow and takes a single goblet from a mound of ancient treasure. For 3 centuries, the dragon has coiled around this hoard, its body wound through darkness, its vigilance unbroken. The theft is not just a crime, it is a spark. The beast wakes, and the Geatish countryside pays the price. Fields burn, halls collapse. The dragon sweeps low, spewing coals and poison, its breath turning night to cinder. Every home becomes a threshold to ruin. The poem lingers on the creature's form, 50 paces long, armored in scales, belly soft as old sin. Its barrow is a tomb and a treasury, a place where gold is both lure and curse. The dragon's rage is not mindless. It is the fury of something that has watched the world change, treasures passed from hand to cold hand, until only the beast remains to remember their worth. Michael Drought reads this final battle as a king's last ordeal, a test not of strength, but of what it means to rule. Tom Shippey asks the question at the heart of the episode. The dragon does not simply guard treasure, it asks whether the treasure is worth becoming monstrous for. R.D. Falk sees in this struggle a kind of poetic closure, the hero's life curling back on itself like the dragon's own body, ending where all mortal ambition must, in the dust beside the gold that outlasts every hand that tries to hold it. Tolkien saw the dragon not as a relic, but as a living engine of story. In his 1936 lecture, he insisted that the monster in Beowulf was not an afterthought, but the axis on which the whole poem turns. For Tolkien, the dragon was more than a brute. It was the test that gives shape to the hero's journey, and the mirror that reflects human failings back at us. But when Tolkien set out to write The Hobbit, he wanted a dragon that could do more than rage and burn. In a letter to his publisher Stanley Unwin in December 1937, he described his wish for a dragon that could speak and reason, a beast whose intelligence was as formidable as its fire. Smaug, the result, is not just a guardian of gold, but a voice in the dark, sly and cunning, his words as sharp as his claws. He is the template for the modern literary dragon, fiercely possessive, dangerously persuasive, and always watching. Even in parody, Tolkien could not resist the allure of the Horde. In Farmer Giles of Ham, Chrysophylax Dives arrives as a comic echo of Smaug, a dragon who bargains, blusters, and counts his gold with a miser's glee. Through these creatures, Tolkien did not simply revive the old Horde guardian. He gave the dragon a mind, a voice, and a place at the heart of modern fantasy, where every treasure comes with its own shadow. Every myth needs a moment where the hero stands alone before the impossible. In the structure of stories, the dragon is that abyss, Joseph Campbell's name for the place where the quest turns deadly and sacred at once. St. George faces his Drake not just as a soldier, but as a soul entering the unknown. Siegfried finds Fafnir sprawled across the wasteland, a serpent swollen with magic and malice. Each encounter is more than a fight. It is a ritual crossing, a trial that demands something irreplaceable. The dragon's role is to concentrate all the world's dangers into a single, overwhelming presence. Its defeat is never simple victory, but a transformation of the hero, the land, or the order of things. Modern fantasy inherits this architecture. The final boss at the end of a game is almost always a dragon for a reason. Designers return to the creature's silhouette, wings unfurled, jaws blazing, a mountain of hit points, and a hoard of treasure behind it. As Mike Meals, former D&D designer, once put it, A dragon encounter is the gold standard for testing everything a party can do: strategy, courage, even mercy. The dragon's body, both in myth and in mechanics, is built for spectacle and for sacrifice. It is the story's ultimate test, the shape that stands between the world as it is and the world remade. Across East Asia, the dragon takes on a different cast. In Chinese, Japanese, and Korean traditions, the names Long, Ryu, and Yong refer to a creature, less often a destroyer than a benefactor. These dragons are linked to reign, wisdom, and the authority of emperors, powers that nourish as much as they awe. The classic of mountains and seas, the Nihon Shoki, and the Samguk Sagi are often cited as early sources, each offering glimpses of dragons as regulators of water and keepers of cosmic order. Yet the precise paths by which these images traveled and the connections between cultures remain uncertain. The available material does not confirm how or if these motifs moved from one region to another. Any simple division between East and West cannot be sustained. The evidence is fragmentary, and the dragon's meanings are as shifting as the clouds it commands. Dragons have not faded with the passing of centuries. They have only multiplied their forms. In Dungeons & Dragons, the dragon is more than a monster. It is a defining icon, present in every edition since 1974, its silhouette stamped on rulebooks, dice, and player imaginations alike. The game's taxonomy, chromatic and metallic, ancient and newborn, mirrors the old flexibility. Dragons as tyrants, sages, gods, or allies. In film and video games, the dragon's shape shifts again. Sometimes it is a companion, as in How to Train Your Dragon. Sometimes it is a living weapon, as in Game of Thrones, or a force that reshapes the land, as in Skyrim or Dragon Age. Modern fantasy grants dragons new roles: ancient intelligence, environmental metaphor, emblem of empire, or symbol of nature's rage. Yet every incarnation returns to the same visual majesty, the same moral ambiguity, the same scale: monster or god, guardian or destroyer. The dragon endures because it can become almost anything the story demands, without ever losing its ancient weight. Even now, in every new fantasy, dragons return, not as relics, but as the living shapes of our deepest questions about strength, greed, and the unknown. The dragon is not just fantasy's oldest monster. It is fantasy's most useful shape, the form we give to power when power becomes too large to look human.